Hi guys, so I'm just going to do something a little bit different for today's video. I'm going to start this series where I talk about opinions on lots of different topics and lots of different things. Hi guys, so I'm just going to do something a little bit different for today's video. I'm going to start this series where I talk about opinions on lots of different topics and lots of different things. So the topic for today's video is on driverless cars. You may not have seen, or you may have seen on the news about driverless cars being rolled out. Sorry guys. Just a quick disclaimer. This is just simply my opinion. You don't have to agree with what I say. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. And please note that this is my opinion, and you know, we should all respect each other's opinions, so please be respectful in the comments. Thanks. One pro is that you don't feel like you need to make conversation because it's a driverless car. You don't have that, I don't know, social awkwardness to someone who you don't know. So another pro is that because the car will be driverless, they can't overcharge you for the fare of the taxi, so you will pay the price that it says on Uber. You know, they can't say give me more money because obviously it's a AI bot that will be driving the car, or the car, I'm guessing, will be sort of programmed in some sort of weird way to take you from A to B. Another pro is, which you might be able to do for a driverless taxi, is choose the music. So instead of the taxi driver, so if it was a normal driver, they'd choose the music for you, but you might be able to select like your favourite song, or I don't know if they have the technology to do that, so don't quote me on that. But imagine getting in an Uber and being able to play whatever radio station you want without listening to their music. That would be really cool. Or imagine if you could link up your phone to the Uber so that the taxi will play whatever music you have on your like Spotify playlist. That would be so cool. Another pro with driverless cars is that if you say something in the taxi that, you know, if you say an opinion on something to someone else, then they can't slate you for your opinion or be rude. So they can't be rude to you because a bot just simply can't, because there's no driver in the taxi. Okay, those are the only pros that I can think of as I'm filming this video. So let's move on to the cons. If someone is really drunk and coming home from a night out, there's no driver there to discipline them or fine them. How will the car get clean? That is very concerning for me, the cleanliness side of things. Another concern for me would be the car going in all sorts of directions or driving too slow or fast. I mean, hopefully they'll have tested it really well, but I heard that they rolled it out in America, and an American guy got locked in the taxi. Now, if I got locked in a taxi, I'd be like, how on earth am I gonna get home? So that's a major worry for me. Whereas with a human, you can actually physically talk to someone and say, hey, stop, you're going the wrong way. whereas a bot, you cannot do that. Another concern for me would be, what if the car didn't show up? That's a really big concern, because yes, I could get like a black cab or change to a driver, but then that money that I've paid for that fare would still be lost. Another concern, it's not so much a concern for myself, but it's a concern for other people. Like, other people might want to, do taxiing for a living, and loads of jobs might become unavailable due to the driverless taxi, let's say, scheme, or whatever they're gonna call it when they roll it out. Because you might have the option to choose a driver, but yet, if the driver's taking too long, you might just have to opt for driverless cars. So it is a big concern for that, for people who want to work in that industry. A big concern for me would be going in a driverless car and ending up in like a horrific crash, because that could happen, because we don't know how safe they are. But I believe if they'll be tested out on humans, surely they'll be okay. But I'm a bit skeptical about it. I think the whole world in general has become really automated, and in some ways it's scary how technology has improved. So I mean, if it does get approved and it needs to have been tested on thousands of people before they roll it out here in the UK. I'm sorry, but if it's not, can you imagine if no Ubers were available, and no Uber drivers, like actual drivers, were available, and you had no choice but to get a driverless car? And this is none of my business, but it's going to affect the government, this, because how much is it going to cost? It's going to cost the government thousands of pounds, and the country, I'm sorry to say this, is already in a mess. I'm sorry to say that. For all of you who support the government, I am sorry, but the country is a mess, and if the government loses money, I don't know what's going to happen. Loads of people will be homeless, living in poverty. People will be left starving, and there'll be more deaths, which isn't good. Also, I think if they rolled out driverless cars, they would need someone to, or maybe a bot to, if they could do this, then that would be really good to like clean if there's a mess or a stain, or if it smells, a bot to spray air freshener. So I think it would have to be cleaned after every journey. Maybe not after every journey, but if there's a mess in the vehicle. So to summarise, I don't fully trust driverless cars. I would hate it if a family member, excuse me, or my boyfriend, or my sister, or my friends or family got in a car and the car crashed because it was driving too fast or too slow. I'd be heartbroken, to be honest. Or if it was a friend, I would, have that heartbreak of losing them, just because the government have rolled out the driverless cars. I mean, at the moment it's debatable whether this will be rolled out, But yeah, like I say, this is just my opinion. So you can agree with it if you want or not. That's completely fine too, because I feel like with the way of the world at the moment, everyone has different opinions about certain different things and certain aspects of the world, which I'm looking forward to covering in my future videos. But filming this video has been quite eye-opening for me, because I've discovered, what I like and dislike about the idea of driverless cars. But I think at least if Uber were to roll it out, they would have to. I think you'd have to have the option there for either a driver or a driverless car to take you. I think definitely if it's driverless, it should be discounted a little bit. But it might not be. And, like I said, I worry about the costs of the government. I mean, it's scary how everything's becoming so automated, but this is the world that we're living in now, unfortunately. So yeah, I'm going to end this video here, guys. So if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment below and subscribe. Like I say, again, this is my opinion, so you don't have to agree with it. So I'll see you in my next video. Bye.